We have a very special speaker today, and I have a wonderful little bio. Lydia Samuel was born in Africa, in the Belgian Congo. Her parents escaped Nazi Germany. She was raised Jewish at home and attended Catholic missionary school. As a child, she observed Congolese people with their native traditions and beliefs. She feels that this early upbringing and experience gave her a very interesting outlook on life to this day. Her father was a master watchmaker and jeweler. Her mother was a nurse. She has two sisters that were born there also. At the age of 8.5, she came to America with her family. They lived in Brooklyn for 2 years, where she laughingly says she learned to speak English. The family moved to Rochester in 1949, and she has lived here ever since. She graduated from Monroe High School and attended RIT in the Arts and Design Department. She has 3 daughters from her first marriage. She's the proud grandmother of 5 grandchildren, 4 girls and 1 boy, and 4 great-grandchildren. In between all of this, she became a motivational speaker. She spoke at colleges and universities throughout New York State. She's appeared on television, radio, and been the subject of many magazine and newspaper articles. Her 2 greatest teachers were Reverend Harry Bender of Plymouth Spiritualist Church and Reverend Marion Lee Newby of the Church of Divine Inspiration. Lydia was an assistant minister for 3 years at Divine Inspiration Church. She was also one of the founders of One Universe Resource Service, Hours, a group that served Rochester and the surrounding area for 17 years. They held workshops and meetings, giving people an opportunity to learn things of interest in our area and showcase the many talented people in Rochester and the surrounding area. She had a television program on Table TV called Window to the Universe. She produced, directed, and hosted over 75 shows. Lydia has counseled thousands of people over the past 50 years. She taught classes in metaphysics, spirituality, and healing. She has a love for all people and touches them with her humor, insights, wisdom, and warmth, which is absolutely true. Her subject today is going to be on sacred texts. She'll explain the importance of the chakras and show us exactly how our thoughts affect our entire being and others. All she asks is that you have an open mind and an open heart. Lydia.
Have you ever laid in bed or sat around someplace and said to yourself, who the hell am I? Why am I here? Why was I here? Where did I come from? Well, today I'm trying to explain it to you. So, sacred text is one of the Bibles. There are many other books. Some people only read this one. I think that's a little, whatever. So, I will start. God was really something else, I'll tell you. It says, I gotta take my glasses off because I can thread a needle with no glasses. When God began creating the heavens and the earth was shapeless. I'll just go through it quickly. It was dark. And he said, you know, I think the first thing I'm going to make is a light. Not a flashlight. That somebody else, I'll help them think of that one. But light. And God was really incredible because I read this. Everything he made, he thought it was wonderful. Oh, this is good, this is good, this is good. How many of us do that? Oh, you know, I just tried a little. Okay. So he made the light, and the light was good. This light gave life to everything that he went on to make, because without the light, the plants don't grow, the animals, you know, everything shrivels up and dies. And so the earth was without form. He decided to put pieces of land here and there, and water and all that stuff. And then he made the animals that creepeth and crawleth and flieth and swimmeth. I don't like the creepeth one. So And he said, I'll plant every kind of fruit, tree, seeds, this, that, and everything. And he says, well, I got the stage set, I got the props up, now I need to have some people. So, he didn't start with Adam and Eve. Okay, I'll find that part. So God made man like his maker. Like God did he make man. Man and woman did he make them. Got that? Mm-hmm. And God blessed them and told them to multiply. Now, it's lucky they didn't think it was arithmetic. And fill the earth and subdue it. You are masters of the fish and birds and all the animals. And look, I have given you the seed-bearing plants throughout the earth and all the fruit trees for your food. And I've given you all the grass and plants for the animals and birds for food. And then God looked over that, what he had made, and it was excellent in every way. And that ended the sixth day. And then God said, well, let's see. Oh, and then God placed man and woman east of Eden, okay? Now they were the physical beings that he created. Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. But then he decided to create man and woman. But first he started with Adam. That was his first kid. And to make him special, he took them from the clay and formed them. And then he blew the breath of life into his nostrils. And he gave Adam a soul and spirit. He became an ethereal being. The other people were physical beings. This was an ethereal being. Now, how many people have heard of Lilith? You have, because we talked about it. He created Lilith first to be his wife. She was formed out of the clay also, and he breathed the breath of life into her. She was a very independent woman, and she did not want to be subservient to Adam. And when he said, lay down and I'll get on top of you, she said, the hell you will. Okay? And so God got a complaint from Adam and said, I don't like this one. That was the first divorce. Okay? Everything happened with the first family already. Family dysfunctions, first wife's no good, get me another one. So they banished her. So another thing in the sacred text is there are many books that have been left out of this. It's called the Forgotten Books of the Bible, or the Apocrypha. And there's a part this big just on Genesis that they left out. So if you're curious, get the book and check it out. So he banished her, and they decided to scandalize her and to give her a bad name and to make her evil. Evil, okay? She wasn't. And they even said that she comes and she takes babies in their first years and takes them. Bull, okay? Then God decided that he was, Adam was just kicking stones around and moping, and said, well, guess I'll have to try to make another woman for him. So he put him into a deep trance. What do we call that in spiritualism? They said he put Adam into a deep sleep. And in spiritualism, we call that a trance. Okay. And when things manifest in spiritualism, the ectoplasm comes from the rib area or your solar plexus. Aha. So he took out a rib. I don't believe that. I think he just took some ectoplasm out and formed her into an ethereal being. And she was okay. You know, she let Adam do what he wanted. But he told him, this is my garden I've made for you. But in the center of this garden, there are going to be 2 trees. And you're not to touch them. One is the tree of consciousness. Didn't call it this tree of knowledge, tree of consciousness. And this will let you know good from evil and so on and so forth. And the other is the tree of ever-bearing life. Okay? Fine. You know, Adam and Eve did their thing and everything, and one day they were near the center of the garden and the snake was hanging around the tree of consciousness or knowledge, and he said, psst, psst, psst. Eve, come here a minute. What? I'm not supposed to go near that. Come over here. This has got some really good fruit on this tree, and it'll make you smarter than anything God ever created. Probably make you smarter than God. She said, really? I don't promise nothing for nothing. Here. So she did. And she said, you know, I did something I shouldn't have done. Maybe if I get Adam to do it too, it won't be so bad. So she got him to eat it too. And all of a sudden, they looked at themselves and she said, you're naked. And he says, you're naked too. So they got leaves and they put them on. That was the first thing they noticed. Unbelievable. So God came and checked on the kids and he saw them. And he says, what's with the leaves? And they said, nothing. God said, don't tell me nothing. And Adam right away, she made me do it, she made me do it, she made me do it, she made me do it. Okay. All right. So God's thinking to himself, he says, these little bastards just ate of the tree of knowledge. And if they eat from this one, I'll be stuck with them forever. I'm going to kick them the hell out of this place. And he banished them. And because Eve was the one that started the whole situation, he said, you're going to suffer more than he is. And when you give birth, it's going to hurt like hell. See, he gets all the fun and she gets all the hurts. So, okay. So now what? One of their sons becomes a farmer and the other one becomes a shepherd. And they're having this sibling rivalry. And what does one do? One kills the other. In the first family, we have murder already, right? And God says, I smell blood. And God had a pretty good nose. He said, what happened to your brother? And he says, you know that old saying, am I your brother's keeper? Mm-hmm. Yes, you are. But anyways, he didn't get reprimanded, did he? Do you read anything about that he got it because he killed his brother? Nope. They had another kid. His name was Seth. And he turned out to be his father's favorite. And then I went on to read some more, especially in the Apocrypha. They had sets of twins. They had multiple children. When you find out supposedly that Adam fathered 40,000 children. Jesus, when did he have time to sleep or eat? So, anyways, and you say to yourself, well, the 2 sons that were left and the daughter or whatever, who do they have children with? Well, when he banished them to the place where the man and woman that he created them both, the physical beings, were there. And they had multiplied and such. And they met Adam's family, and they married, or whatever they called it, and they started having children with them. So we became a hybrid. We have a physical body, but we're also etheric because we have a soul and spirit. And when our physical body can no longer manifest life, that soul and spirit returns back to God. But within us, every single day, every moment of our lives, we make this choice of how we are going to carry on our lives and how we are going to behave. And is it going to be that part of us that is goodness, that is connected to the light and to the Godhead? Or are we going to be more of the animalistic beings that God created? And there are people who, even though they had a soul and spirit and a higher being, did not continue in that vein. And that is how you can explain people like Hitler and Stalin and people who created horrific situations. And I gave this talk to a group of older ladies one time, and even when I was at Divine Inspiration Church, and someone said, you just explained so much of what I just could not understand. You know, why do some people behave the way they were? And there was a woman that actually was at the Nuremberg trials after the Holocaust. And she made sure she was there, and she wanted to see what these monsters looked like. And she said, and when they showed up, they looked just like you and me, but you've explained what darkness can be in the hearts of people and what kind of light can be in others, like Mother Teresa, Gandhi, you know, and those. So that's how I'm finishing that up. But it's interesting when you see artwork of Adam and Eve, and the artist gave them belly buttons. There was no uterus, there was no umbilical cord, you know. So Adam and Eve just didn't have belly buttons. All right. The other thing I wanted to say is when we sang Amazing Grace, the music to that came from an old black hymn or song. And the person who wrote that song did become blind. And he was a slave trader. He used the ships to pick up the slaves and everything. And that was that part of him that was not the good part of him. And then he became enlightened. There are many Christed beings, and that doesn't mean that you have to be put on a cross and that. It just means that God has filled you with light, empowered you with light, enlightened you with light. And that can happen to anyone, okay? And it's a very, very beautiful thing. All you have to do is elevate yourself and draw the light to you. When we were created, in the mother's womb. It is interesting when you see an embryo because it looks like a pollywog. There's a head, there's a spine, there's a heart, there's blood and such. And then eventually, you know, other organs come, and the endocrine system, your glands, and then the legs and arms come, and a full being, beautiful being comes out. Now, along that spine from your head to your reproductive organs are 7 chakras. You all know about those? Yeah. Do you know that it is not good to walk around with them wide open all the time? And that you've been walking around with them open since the day you took your first breath? And that when you learn how to open and close them, and to open them when you're going to do a meditation or a reading, it will enhance and intensify what you get. And if you learn how to bring them down on standby, you don't shut them off. If they were shut off, we'd be mort. But your TV, your computer, when you turn it off, there's still a little light. In the olden days when we had TV, and we really did, was about in the 50s, because I remember I watched Howdy Doody. You turned it off and it was off. And then when you turned it on, it took forever for the tubes to warm up and come on, right? Now, you got that little light, you zap it, you don't have to get up and turn it off and on and change the channels. We had remotes, but they were called kids. You'd say, put it on channel 10. Okay, so now you go click, ding. Well, that's what you do with the chakras. So I want to pick on a short person. What a short person. Come on up here.
5 foot tall.
All right. So this is my little pendulum. Spirit told me how to make it. I made it, and I'm going to be just like God. Isn't it good? All right. It's got the 7 chakras. This one I use to check the chakras. This one I use to ask questions. Like one day I was in the grocery store and this guy was looking at the watermelons and he said, "How do you pick a good watermelon?" I said, "Let me show you." I went like this, spun around like crazy. There was one that had a crack on it, looked all shingata. That means crabby. It didn't move. Then I went to this one, it spun like crazy. I said, "I'd get that one if I were you." The son of a bitch took the bit in the middle. I said, "Okay." See, Adam brain. Okay. So, if you get one of these, and I do make them, you say, what is the sign for yes? You see, it's doing it already. What does your head do? Yes. All right. It loves to say no. What's the sign for no? Am I doing this? No. Okay, so that's no. Oh, it's doing it already. What's the sign for it's none of your business? Or I don't know. Oh, it just watch it go. I'm not doing that. Woohoo!
Oh my God.
Holy cow.
Okay? Now, it won't do this right away. It's like muscles. You got to build it up, and you got to work with your spirit guides and stuff like that. But it will do it, okay? So I'm going to do this. And can we put your glasses over there? Because
Absolutely.
she's got it right by her heart. I don't know what that's going to do. Oh, all right. In the northern hemisphere, everything goes clockwise. Below the equator, everything goes counterclockwise. Now, you know one of the reasons I'm screwed up? I was born below the equator when I was 8.5. My mother brought me back up here. My heart didn't know what the hell to do because the ventricles actually form that way. I never felt good since I came here. All right, so what way is it going?
No, you-
Clockwise.
Very good. You move back a little. No, because if I come too close,
He's gonna clock back the
no,
head.
no, it's not gonna do it.
Oh,
I'm in too far. So. When we use the L rods, you can go down a half a block
oh
from
my
the person,
goodness. Wow.
and the L rods will open up. Okay? That's the heart, we did the throat, that's the solar plexus, that's the spleen, and this is your reproductive organs. I had one old gentleman, he was a orthodontist, and I told him, close your chakras, bring them down. And I got down here and it was spinning like crazy. I said, I told you close that one up. No, I like it open. And I said, would you wear your fly open with everything hanging out? And he said, no. I said, then don't do that. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to picture a zipper from here. You don't have to touch it, just picture. And zip up to here, okay? And bring it up from there to,
Okay.
I'm trying to think what they call this.
Crown?
No. It's some other term, but anyways, tell me when you're zipped. It should just go.
I'm zipped.
Okay. I got a creak in here. All right, you're fine. You really are just the perfect height for me. Well, here. You remember how hard it was spinning? All right, so when you're going to meditate, when you're going to do a reading, when you're doing something like that, you do not open them when you're doing a healing. Okay, you don't need to. Got that? You want to put yourself in an insulation suit and just your hands are exposed. And then you say, may these hands be guided by the sacred healer, Jesus, if you feel comfortable saying that, but all the rest of you is protected. The first and most important thing you do is to protect yourself. And that's by putting the 6 points of light from above, from below, to the front, to the back, to the right, and to the left. When I started studying with Reverend Newby, she said, you put the light over you this way, and one day I was in my chair and I was doing that, and my spirit guides are so cute, they go, psst, 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 psst. Lydia, look, what? You're only protecting yourself from one direction. You gotta do the bottom, you gotta do the front, you gotta do the back, you gotta do the top. And so you create what's called a 6-pointed, 3-dimensional star of light, which in sacred geometry is a Merkaba. And you can actually use it as a spaceship to travel. Okay, now I want you to take and unzip right to below your heart. Okay, now the reason we don't open these lower 3 is that they are the earthly chakras, and the energy comes from the earth. The ones that's the heart comes in this way, and it corresponds to the name Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So I usually tell people, imagine you're wearing a rainbow suit, and up to here is red, orange, yellow, green, okay, blue, and indigo. I mean violet, indigo. This is green, this is sky blue, okay? So you're just gonna go down to here.
Okay.
All right, So. For some reason, this one wants to, but I'm telling you, it's closed now. All right, zip it, unzip it down to your heart.
I am.
All right. There we go. And once it gets into that vortex, it'll start going.
Don't let go.
She is so powerful. I'm telling you. All right. Now what happens when we get here? Okay. She ain't trolling. All right. So you can zip up again, unless you're gonna get up and you're gonna give readings and such. Then you want to hear. You want to do this before you go to sleep at night. And I like to say the Lord's Prayer, because the Lord's Prayer has a very important part in it, which is, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. It is through the lower things that the entities can come and wreak havoc, try to take over, possession, and all kinds of things. Not to frighten you, just to warn you, okay? All right, so does anybody have any questions? What did I do with all mine?
I handed them.
Oh, you handed them out already?
Yep.
All right. So these are affirmations for every kind of thing. But when you open your chakras, there's a special affirmation. Now all 7 chakras are open. May I retain the flame of protection, that only good come onto me and only good come from me. I realized that what I was taught was not as positive as it could have been. And it used to say, and no evil will come to me, or no evil will come from me. And I learned that one never uses the word no or not. When I've had surgeries and I wrote affirmations for the nurse to read to me in recovery, it says, I will awaken with all my faculties. I will be pain-free. I don't say I will not have pain. I will heal beautifully. I will, if it's all functions will work again, so on and so forth. All right? On your printout things, I have put my name, my phone number, and my email. Not because it's all about me and I'm egotistical. I work so hard at that. No, anyways, the thing is, Reverend Newby taught us that being a responsible teacher is a very, very important thing. And once I become your teacher, I become your teacher for the rest of your existence, should you want me to be. Like, she's still my teacher. And one of the things she used to say was, Spirit is pouring glass after glass of water for you. Now I'm in Wegmans, right? And I hear this woman talking to her mother on the phone. And I said, your mother needs to drink more water. She doesn't drink water. It's they should follow me around. It would be another TV show. But I don't mind if you make a few copies of that and give them to your friends. The more knowledge, the better the world is. But leave that on there, because if anyone has a question because of those, they need to be asked the teacher, what is that? And I love when people say, oh, this is a stupid question. No, there are no stupid questions. At least you were intelligent enough to ask. I might give you a stupid answer. So it's been such a pleasure. I just feel so great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.